Sunset Slayer by Penstroke. Chapter 6 Subterfuge. It really is incredible. It's expressive to recreate his body mass and dexterity. Burke's approximately 7 feet tall, roughly 22 shoulder width, and about an 8-foot arm span. I wish I had my teeth master for accurate numbers, but this will have to do for now. Still, that means your arms are disproportionately large, but that likely helps if you choose to shift out running onto 4 long limbs. The natural resting angle of your elbows and wrists seem to be designated for as well. Tell me, what were you thinking before the transformation occurred to the portal? I could write off a dozen of my working theories on the first Paul experience. After a touching reunion, Twilight had referred to her common practices of studying anything new she came across with feverish intensity. She was taking pages upon pages of notes on Spike's transformation, muttering to herself as she poked, prodded, and measured using a ruler she had found in the room. Spike was just smiling through it, and trying not to look at the bruise developing on Twilight's arm. Sunset and Fluttershy were at the window, keeping an eye on Rainbow and Pinkie while also watching Twilight work. They had been mulling over what to do now that they had pulled Spike to their side. I think we should just overwhelm Rarity and Applejack while we have the advantage and focus all our attention on the Master. They may have taken our lockets, but Rainbow and Pinkie still have theirs. We could drain our friends, get them someplace safe, then take care of this thing. Fluttershy nodded, though her head was rocking at on angles at the same time.
That does sound like a good plan, but I just don't want to hurt them if we don't have to. How will we even get to them?
Spike throws the table through the window. Then he jumps down with Twilight and you find me down. Simple as that. Sunset said was drunk.
But what if the Master runs away once he realizes we're coming after him?
Fluttershy asked. She looked out the window, where Rainbow was glaring at the school, while Pinkie was drawing a complicated picture in the dirt with a stick.
What if he takes Rarity and Applejack with him? We shouldn't cause a big scene until we really have to.
I suppose that's something we have to consider. But how long before they realize Spike's broken free of the mind control? She gestured towards Spike, Twilight now measuring his claws, gaining the distance from the tip of his claws to the base of his palm. If Rarity, Applejack, or the elusive Master came to check on him right now, they catch him in here and realize something is wrong. How does he even leave his post if he's supposed to be guarding to us? Fluttershy toyed with her hair for a moment. Her eyes wandered to the window. To Spike, to the cats, to the sunset. There her hands paused in her hair. She had a look of inspiration in her eyes, but her cheek flushed with blush and hid her face. Sunset couldn't help but cock an eyebrow at the odd display. What is it? She asked with a small chuckle.
Oh, I was remembering.
Fluttershy peeked up from the strands of her hair.
You remember Rarity and her outfits? Well, do you think she wanted to make him an outfit? She probably didn't think she need to. Probably need his measurements. She was also the one that took our stuff while Spike stood guard and Applejack carried his to the Master.
Sunset pondered the thought for a moment. She looked over to Spike. Slowly, she began to nod her head and smiled. Hey, Spike? Yeah? Yes, well, kept his back comfortably straight, while Twilight was conjuring his furby. What would you have to do to get Rarity's attention?
Oh, Spiky Wacky, I can't believe I didn't think of anything making you into something. You got such a strapping figure now. It would just be a shame not to put you in something dapper yet masculine.
Rarity was twirling in the air as he led Spike into the classroom as he claimed her own domain for the evening.
Still, we must be quick. Applejack can be a sourpuss, and she's only going to watch your post for so long. Now, we should start with some pants, maybe some dark-colored routines. Oh, I remember the perfect little roll of denim around in the corner.
Spike just nodded his head as he lumbered into the room, trying to remember everything he was told by Twilight and Sunset. He guessed right. Rarity had returned to the career development room to continue exploring its supply of fabric, thread, and sewing tools. He sniffed the air, taking in all the smells that lingered. He knew a lot of them. Many of the subtle ones belonged to the familiar faces of Crystal Prep. His nose, however, was searching for either Twilight, Sunset, or Fluttershy's scent. The trail, if he could follow it, might just lead him to where Rarity had left her stuff. Cell phones were the priority, but getting everything else back would be even better.
Here, try these on.
Spike tensed, and turned just in time for a pair of jeans to smack on the face. He brought up his meaty hands, grabbed the pants, then held them at arm's length. Are they a little long for me? And how does he make these already? Rarity chuckled as he slipped around Spike, a hand trailing across his muscular shoulders.
Mossing is a wonderful thing when you can use it freely, Spiky Wacky. Don't you worry about them fitting just yet. I want to see how they look on you first.
I never had to work with your kind of canine legs before, so you'll have to forgive me for a little experimentation. Spike nodded and lowered the pants down to closer to his waist. He eyed it for a second, then cautiously tried to lift one leg. Normal people made it look easy enough. Put one leg through, then the other, and pull over your waist. It seemed simple. He extended his left foot out to try and get it all the way through the pant leg, but then felt himself tipping. With a sounding thud, he hit the floor, causing a few more of the fragile things around the room to fall and break.
Are you okay?
Vanity asked as he hovered over the Spike. Yeah, just never put on pants before. Rarity nodded, bringing her slightly closed hand to her chin.
Yes, I suppose it is something of an acquired skin. Well, how should we just try with swords? Their pants would be just perfect. Look, some students carving a bench out of redwood next to where I'm hanging my finished outfits. Try sitting down over there before putting the pants on.
Okay, Spike said as he picked himself off the floor. Rarity flitted back off to some sewing machines, which began running at the beacon of her magic as different lengths of fabric floated in the air. Spike couldn't deny. It was rather impressive to see such an open and complex display of magic. It was like the vampire curse was bringing out the true potential as magic users. The curse was still evil, and their talents were being brought out for the master's benefit, but it was something of a nice preview. Reaching the bench, Spike sat down and renewed his struggles against the pants. He took this opportunity to sniff the air again. This time, he picked up something. He caught a whiff of sunset. His nose twitched, and he pointed his muzzle in a few different directions, eventually zeroing in on Rarity's clothing's back. So, you made all these outfits just tonight? Spike asked. They all look great. Are they all for you?
Oh, no.
Rarity flitted back over to Spike, taking different hangers from the rack and holding them up in the air.
I'm preparing for Master's glorious vampiric revolution. We'll be his hellos, diplomats, and of course we're going to need help. I'm planning outfits for all the best candidates. Anyone that's heavily been exposed to magic is a candidate for early adoption. Oh, you should see what I've got planned for Rainbow and Twilight.
Rarity's hands found two outfits in particular. One was a purple dress with long black leggings and a classic vampire cape. The other was something that could define the term little black dress, since it was so of a lot of skin and had a small red bead that would rest in the center of the wearer's chest. Both dresses were accompanied with a matching pair of shoulder-length gloves.
The purple one is obviously for Twilight. It does think very well would look stunning in black. It'll contrast so well with her natural colors.
Sure, they're great, though don't you think...
What is it, Spike? Rarity asked. If you have an honest critique of my work, then I insist you share it with me. It's better for you to tell me than for me to be reprimanded by Master for my poor design choices.
So let go of the two outfits, leaving them floating in the air by magic, as he moved right up to Spike. She put her hands on his chest and smiled as she looked directly into his eyes.
Surely you'd be willing to do that for cute little me, wouldn't you, Spikey Wikey?
Spike looked at her hand and scratched at the side of his head. He'd seen this look on Rarity's face before. She got it when she was reading her werewolf novels. I remember hearing something about the Spike from Equestria having a crush on Rarity, but there was probably one place where the two of them drifted mentally. After all, until a few hours ago he was just a dog. His knowledge of what defined human beauty and fashion was almost non-existent. Still, he picked up a few things from his own memories in the mouth of a proper sentence. Aren't they just a little bit revealing? Rarity playfully said to his chest as he fled back to the outfits.
Oh, Spike, vampires are eternally youthful and naturally beautiful. The common confections of clothing preparation by humanity don't apply to us. Besides, surely you don't find my outfit too revealing, do you?
No, it's perfect, he answered. Those eyes were down on the floor, trying to push his leg through the jeans, avoid Rarity's gaze at the same time. He eventually stood up, struggled to zipper for a moment, then worked to secure the button. When it was all done, he glanced up at Rarity and gestured towards the pants. So, how did he look?
Too baggy, far too baggy.
Rarity flicked her wrist, pushing the bench out of the way as some of the pins came flying from a nearby sewing station.
Need to take some fabric out of the bottom of the legs and around the rear. Maybe you could just go with a pair of shorts. At least I don't have to worry about a big fluffy tail. That's the one part of you stayed perfectly small and cute.
As Rarity became distracted in her work, Spike's eyes flicked to the outfit rack. He reached out a paw, trying to make it look like he was just steadying himself, as Rarity began to tug and pull at the pants and make adjustments with her pins. She glanced down at Rarity once more, then began to use his long fingers to flick through in different outfits in the rack. There was a lot of dresses, but intermixed with them were some more of uncommon outfits. Once that caught attention was a pair of black pants with numerous horizontal cuts. It was paired with a white t-shirt, but most importantly, it shared a hanger with Sunset's jacket and Sunset's locket device. Now, how would he get it out of the room?
Oh, yes, this will work. Just one final thing I need to check.
Spike suddenly felt himself held in Rarity's magic. He was abruptly turned upside down. Pants were removed. Rarity smiled as he took them in her hands.
Yes, perfect. I'll make some adjustments soon you'll have these outfit fatter and easy to remove. Now, would you like a shirt to go with your pants? Personally, I think it would be a shame to hide the Adonis-like physique.
Landing back on the floor, Spike glanced around for a moment to think of anything that might work. Something trouncing, something that would give him pockets to carry stuff back with. He kept glancing back at Sunset's jacket, the black leather ensemble eventually driving into one random thought. How about something a biker might wear? I mean, I've always wanted to drive Rainbow or Sunset's motorcycle. It looks like fun.
I do suppose you have the proper figure. There is something alluring about the bad boy look.
Rarity did a lazy loop in the air, and then smiled, practically drove it to one of the sewing stations.
Yes! All we need then is a nice white t-shirt and leather jacket. Hold on, Spike. I know I saw some quality black leather around here someplace.
Take your time! Spike called out to her as he quickly reached for Sunset's jacket, to hook his claws into a pocket for a few seconds, grabbing what he could. He found her cell haphazardly, stuffed into the pocket with the keys for a motocross bike. They must have stuffed everything they took from Sunset into her jacket. Likely it meant everything they took from Twilight and maybe Fireside's things, or all Twilight's backpack. But he didn't see the bag or notice the Twilight sent in the room. What was her backpack?
Oh, here's the letter!
Spike flinched, nearly topping the clothing rack as he glanced over his shoulder. With magic, Rarity wouldn't need long to assemble the outfit, now that he had found the materials. He had to work fast. He dug the phone and keys out of the jacket, set them on the floor, Spike into the suiting for the other pockets, creating a small pile of things on the floor and covering them on a random clipping of fabric. Finally, he reached and clasped his pocket device in his right claw.
Oh, this is perfect!
Rarity sung into the air. Spike hid his right claw behind his back, working to try to tuck the lock device into a back pocket of the pants. He managed to get it stowed away, just as Rarity came flying towards him, holding out the shirt jacket.
You look so intimidating in this. Maybe we could talk the master into giving you a motorcycle of your own as well. We certainly can't be carrying around in a backpack anymore now, can we?
That sounds pretty cool, Spike said with a nod, and a thumbs up. His first thumbs up ever.
Oh, wonderful. Now, I'll put that on when I try to find some sunglasses. Surely there must be one pair in the room that will work in the short term.
Rarity was off again. Spike breathed a sigh of relief before looking at the jacket and shirt that had been shoved in his hands. The shirt was a plain white t-shirt, but the jacket was going to be useful. It had plenty of pockets, more than enough for him to stuff Sunset's things back into the teacher's lounge. He set the jacket onto the back of the redwood bench and sat down and put his shirt. He felt it hard to crunch the Sunset's locket device between his rump and wooden seat. Glanced at Rarity briefly, before checking to see if it took notice of the noise. When reaching his back pocket, he pulled out the device, which was now a little more than a pile of snapped circuitry and dented metal. Oh, Celestia, darn it, Spike! Spike lumbered back through the halls of the school. The Spiker alphabet completed to Rarity's satisfaction. Jeans, black leather jacket, white undershirt, and a belt with a large silver-plated buckle. She also found a set of matching sunglasses at someone's desk. Spike held those on the collar of his shirt as he made his way back to his post. Each pocket on his jacket was zipped, so the numerous metal bits clinked with each step. That was, perhaps, the one part of the outfit Spike really liked. The key and zippers would hopefully stop Applejack from nosing all the tools he had reclaimed from Sunset's jacket. The teacher's lounge was up on the third floor. There were several administrative parts of the building, so Spike quickly found himself at the school's central staircase. He bent down on all fours to make the climb back up. And then something tickled at his nose. He stopped to sniff, waving his head around before eventually catching the smell again. It smelled like Twilight. He tried to smell. It didn't go upstairs to the teacher's lounge. No. It went down to the first floor. Spike's ears flattened as he glanced back and forth between the pair of stairs. In theory, Applejack didn't know Rarity had finished with him. He could press his luck and try to find Twilight's backpack. But if they caught wind, then his whole spy game went up in smoke, and they were in a lot of trouble. so he couldn't go back and ask the girls, since returning meant resuming his post. Worse, if you remember correctly, the master was on the first floor. He stepped again. The trail was warm. It would be easy enough for him to follow. If he didn't lose it on his way down, it would lead him straight to Twilight's backpack. All the extra supplies that were in there, including the 2 uncrushed locket devices, would really help out their situation. He bounced on his feet a little, like a fast swinging pendulum, and Somali flip-flopped between the 2 options. Finally he huffed, got down on all fours, and followed the scent down to the steps of the first floor. Kept his nose on the trail, detecting every little change in the aromas, odors in the air. Made his way down to the stairs and through the hallways, occasionally pausing to check his surroundings, until he came to a pair of double doors that almost every student in Crystal Prep passed through multiple times, even recluse like Twilight. It was a cafeteria. It was the only room he had truly wished to avoid on the first floor. As the door opened, Spike poked his head inside and surveyed the room. Normally, the cafeteria was the one part of Crystal Prep that really resembled Canterlot High. There was a cafeteria line, and there were supposed to be rows of rectangular tables, each table holding a few dozen students. The tables, however, had been shoved to the sides, clearing a rectangular space between the 4 crystalline pillars that supported the ceilings of rooms above. In the cleared floor space, several pieces of furniture from around the school had been arranged. The chair from Principal Stinson's office and her desk were joined by furnishings pilfered from many other parts of the school. A bookcase, couch, rug, mini fridge, and other things came to form the master's den. The master was seated in Stinson's chair, was just turned away from the door to face the desk. All Spike could see of the vampiric creature was a spindly, clawed hand that filled with something. There was also a cage resting on the desk, in which there were a few white mice. He recognized the mice. By sight and whiz of their scent he could pick in the air. They were classroom pets for the science department, and normally used in humane experiments like running mazes. He actually liked them. They weren't jerks like that squirrel in the park. Looking away from the master's desk, Spike quickly scanned the room for Twilight's bag. He caught sight of it, leaning against the pillar that bordered the master's den. He flattened his ears and had to find a strong urge to whimper. It was entirely too close to the master. One wrong step and he'd be beguiled again, and the girls would be right back where they started. Only this time, he would know not to look into Fluttershy's stare. It was a solid crumbling. Spike was debating on aborting and just getting back to the teacher's lounge. He lifted a hand to backtrack, but then heard something squeaking. He focused his eyes back onto the master's chair and desk. The spindly hand had reached into and pulled one of the lab mice from the cage. Oh no! It writhed and struggled in his grasp, unable to escape as it drew closer to the master's head. Spike's keen ears picked up on a particularly loud squeak. No! Mr. Squeakers! No! Why? This is the most horrific thing that's ever happened on this show! Why? As the mouse was bitten, he then watched the master hold the mouse in his hand. It struggled to escape, but was decidedly not becoming a vampire. Mr. Squeakers, no! This is probably the 35th worst tragedy to ever happen! Oh, you monster! You monster! Master's other hand then came into view. Spike felt a shiver crawl down his spine. The master was holding Twilight's locking device. He placed the previously bitten mouse back in the cage with the others, then cracked open the locket. The master drained some of his own magic, a curling vapor that looked like a putrid smoke of a burning, industrial chemical. He looked just a little before snapping the locket shut, then reached for a fresh mouse, taking it out of the cage. This time he didn't bite it. He monologued. Life's not fair, is it? You see, I shall never be king, and you will never see the light of another day. Adieu. The locket cracked open, but this time it was in observation mode. He didn't drain any new magic, just ensured the magic had already remained contained. Spike could see the small spear of energy, a cold, dead color of blue, not like the master's natural skin tone. After adjusting his grip on the locket device, the master moved it towards the mouse, eventually touching the spear of magic energy to his unwilling test subject. The magic was instantly absorbed, and the mouse panicked and squirmed, was able to stop the energy flowing into its body. Then, without warning, the mouse went limp, as if it simply had died in his master's hand. My God! Does how many more mice have to die? The master dropped the mouse back into the cage to the others. First, a few other mice moved in close, sniffing at their returning fellow. Then, without warning, they ran to the edges of the cage, trying to climb up the walls or dig their way out through the soft wood shavings that covered the cage's base. They were scared. Spike soon realized it was for good reason. The mouse has been infused with Master's magic began to move again. It stood up, making strange, squeaking noises. Spike couldn't see any real details from where he was, but the magic-infused mouse turned to look at the Master, then bowed his head. A low chuckle echoed against the walls of the cafeteria, and the Master's hand gestured to one of the still healthy mice. With only that small gesture, the magic-infused mouse attacked. It lunged at the other, stepping on its back and biting down. The two rolled and tumbled. Spike couldn't see everything that was happening, but soon the squeals of fear and combat grew quiet. Then the two mice got back to their paws, turned, and both of them bowed to the Master. Another chuckle emanated through the room, and the Master reached out to the cage to pick up the two mice. He kept turning it over his hand, examining it like a craftsman admiring his work. Yet while the Master seemed pleased, Spike was trembling in fear. He could be sure Twilight would probably want to hear every little detail, but at the moment he feared he had seen something truly horrible. The Master had just turned a regular, non-magical mouse into a vampire. He needed to get back, but the Master was going to use locking devices. He couldn't let them have both Twilight and Firesize. He really needed to get that backpack. The Master was still distracted by the mice in his experiment. Spike glanced around, then grabbed a garbage can from near the door. He pushed the door open, thankful that Crystal Prep kept all their hinges well oiled and silent. He propped the door open with the garbage can, assuring he would make a swift escape. He then backed away from the door, taking off his jacket into the hallway, so the metal zippers wouldn't draw the Master's attention. Okay, 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 he thought to himself. He glanced up to the right direction, where the teacher's lounge was, then managed to smile. They're going to be so mad I did this! Spike turned and went through the door, walking as swiftly as he could on his padded paws without making any sound. He clenched his claws tense, assuring he didn't click on the floor. He adjusted his gait to ensure his pants didn't make a rubbing noise. The squeaking of the mice in panic was helping cover his movements. The Master had placed the one he was examining back into the cage, was now having them attack all the remaining ones. Spike could only guess that the Master was enjoying the show, like someone wanting a dogfight. It was sick and wrong. He didn't have time to focus on that. He reached for the backpack, picked it up in his hands, and began to make his way back towards the door. He still wasn't that good at walking at two legs. He could hear himself or the backpack making noise, but so far, the Master hadn't noticed. He was almost to the door. He just had to. Spike, why are you away from your post? He froze, and quickly turned, keeping the backpack's hidden behind his back. The Master turned from his chair, revealing the form of their enemy. It was not the same monstrosity Spike remembered chasing him and Twilight down the halls. He was a spindly, old man that looked like a stiff breeze might blow him over. He had a particularly long nose, a bald head, and his ears were pointed. His face was round and ancient-looking. He had wrinkles and scowl lines like someone in their 90s. He was wearing a nearly all-black formal suit with red accents in the vest and a dark red tie. In Spike's eyes, he looked like to be a mortician, one who had no qualms about putting people on the ground, living or dead. The only bright color on his body was his eyes, which were glowing red as they remained transfixed on him. "Well," the Master asked, his face hardly moving to form the word. "Forgive me, Master," Spike said, quickly dropping on one knee and bowing to the creature. He took the opportunity to drop the bag on the ground and shove it out the door. "I was summoned by Lady Verity. She wanted to give me some clothing, and she asked Applejack to watch our captors in the interim." He breathed, trying to steady the waver in his voice. He didn't know how good the Master was at picking up his white lies and half-truths. At least the Master couldn't read minds. Well, Spike was pretty sure he couldn't. Spike tried to stop thinking just to be safe. "She is entirely too focused on her outfits, but her talent for the crafts cannot be denied either." The Master flicked a few mouse hairs that had fallen to his sleeve off his suit jacket. "That, however, does not explain your presence here. Why did you not return directly to your post?" He swallowed. He kept his head bent down to the master. No eye contact. If eye contact had freed him from the master's enthrallment, it was probably how he got overwhelmed in the first place. Thus had to keep staring at the floor. That, he had some hints of a forgotten memory. Something Applejack had told him. How, as a werewolf, he was not fit to look upon the master unless given permission. Still, he hoped he could pass off this lie. Master, Lady Verity asked that I come and seek your approval of her work. When I arrived, however, I saw you were busy at your desk, and decided it was best to return to my post. But, master, I must admit my— He paused a moment, sniffing a little in the air, catching with. I must admit my hunger got the better of me. I am a newly born werewolf, having grown from the size of a tiny pup. I left the noisier parts of my attire in the hallway, so I might sneak behind you to satisfy my desires. I beg your forgiveness, master. Spike could hardly hear himself speaking without loud his heartbeat was in his ears. He had ended the lie with a truth, but it had still been one heck of a lie. True, the kitchen was nearby, and he knew it was stocked full of meats. Crystal showed some really good food for lunch. He got a few table scraps from Twilight on rare occasions, and they were delicious. Sure, Skibble was good too, but table scraps were the best. Spike tensed as he heard a gurgle and a pop echo against the walls of the room. His stomach had just rumbled, loudly. Perhaps he was hungrier than he realized. He heard the scourge squeak, glanced just enough to see the master's feet. He stood up, and was now walking towards Spike. His steps were slow and purposeful, his footfalls echoing like the drums of a death march. Spike had struggled and ever his rioting rise to flee. If he fled, the master knew something was up. At the same time, Spike knew he may have already been caught in his lie. The master was coming to either kill him or enthrall him. If that was the case, running to the girls was his best choice. But he couldn't tell best on the master's feet alone. He wanted to look at the master's face, but he knew even doing that would probably be his undoing. Spike felt a hand on his head and a sharp prick of the master's nail against his neck. The master wasn't squeezing, but those razor-sharp claws were still drawing blood. I pity you creatures who require slaughter me and the dead. It is so barbaric. Your ferocity, however, makes you valuable to me. You are forgiven for the desires of your gut. The hand left Spike's head, and he realized he hadn't been breathing. He struggled not to grasp the replying oxygen in his lungs before speaking. Thank you, master. However, you are not forgiven for trespassing where you do not belong. Spike couldn't have reacted even if he wanted to. The master's foot smashed into his chest and sent him flying through the cafe interior doors to crash into the hallway. The force of the flow blasted him against the wall for a moment before gravity managed to pull him down. He crumpled to the floor, and for a few seconds was dazed. He started to curl to a ball and tug his tail, but he felt his knees hit something. First opened up an eye and saw the bag. He grabbed it and held his chest, trying to hide it from his master. He could hear footsteps again, and for a moment he feared for his life. But despite his ears noticed the steps were getting quieter. He dared a glance and saw the master was walking back to his chair, hands folded behind his back. Spike looked away again when the master retook his seat, assuring he did not draw the creature's wrath again. Take your stolen food, return to your post, and never enter my den again unless you accompany a true child of the night. Otherwise, you'll find yourself forever remaining as a wolf-skin rug on my floor. The master turned back to his desk and went back to his work, and he just got up close to a window. Spike laid where he was, trying to catch his breath without gasping, and holding in his pained whimpers. The kick probably did not break any bones, but he didn't doubt that he'd be dead if he had kicked like that. It was still a regular dog. Still, he clenched the backpack tighter, pulled himself off the floor, and grinned through pain. The mission had been successful. Sunset sat on the couch, her mind trying to wrap its way around her ever-worsening situation. Spike was successful. He got Twilight's bag and most of its contents, but he brought with him some unsettling news. The master was slowly becoming more human in appearance. He was using a locker device to spread his curse to those without magic, who were previously immune. Perhaps it was only a matter of time before Twilight became the master's first human test subject. Twilight was feverishly trying to adjust some of her plans with the new information he received. First, there was perhaps the calmest of them all. Tending to the group's ruins now that he had access to the first aid kit again. To give Twilight some painkillers for her bruised arm, implies that he had compressed what Spike had been kicked. Spike himself had broken the glass on the Lyles' snack machine, was balancing on whatever looked good. Sunset filled with some of the things that Spike managed to get back from her coat. She held her phone in one hand, waiting for Twilight to give the words before calling Rainbow. In the other, she held her 2 photographs in her wooden case. It felt strange to have it in plain view of her friends, but neither Fluttershy nor Twilight asked about it. That alone was a blessing. She didn't need to be explaining it to them now, so it did distract from the task at hand. She tried to slip it away quietly into her pocket. The Master was either making himself look more human, or was naturally adapting. He was able to complete the process and hide amongst the billions of people inhabiting the planet. They could use the locket device to build an army of vampires before they could ever hope to catch up. The minutes were ticking by, and Twilight hadn't said a word. She just continued to work feverishly at her dwindling supply of paper. The duels were gone, and Twilight was now going to full equations and formulae, trying to calculate something. Maybe it was how fast the Master's vampiric army was spread, and he didn't stop him here. She couldn't deny. It was tempting to try and go back to the portal and get equestrian reinforcements. But that meant giving the Master time, and that was perhaps the last thing they wanted him to have. I hear someone coming! Every eye in the room turned to Spike, whose ears were pointing to the direction of the staircase. In a flash, he went out through the door, threw the arm of compressed into a trash can, and returned to his proper post, not guarding the door. Fluttershy was hurriedly trying to pack and hide Twilight's bag. The Sunset stuck her hands in things they held into her pockets. Then she began to hear the clipping boots as it grew louder and louder. Applejack appeared at the door, scowling as he just had while guarding Spike's absence. Twilight, you're coming with me. Master wants to see you. Twilight stiffened. Her hands clenched in her many papers like they may save her for what they knew was to come. She ready to see it, and for a few seconds, she and Applejack just stared at one another. Applejack's brow furrowed, began walking towards Twilight. That wasn't her class. Get up before I sling you over my shoulder like a bag of flour.
But I'm not ready.
Twilight went back to her papers, furiously trying to finish her work like she had turned into a test.
I haven't figured out.
None of your plans are going to work anyway. So pull it down and come here. Applejack grabbed the back of Twilight's chair and pulled it away from the table. Sunset glanced at Fluttershy. No time for well-thought-out plans now. Twilight became a vampire, then the Master would have their smartest and most strategically minded member at his disposal. Waited until Fluttershy was looking back at her. Then Sunset gestured to her chest. Fluttershy retained the locking device for Twilight's bag. It was their only one now. They had to make a move. They were about to stir up so much trouble. How'd you all get that bruise on your arm? Applejack said as he pulled Twilight out of her seat and guided her toward the door. I won't have the Master getting mad at me because of something you did to yourself. Applejack, however, only managed to get a few steps before she felt a tap on her shoulder. She looked back and saw Sunset standing right behind her. Sorry, Applejack. Sunset reared back her fist, ponying up as she did before punching Applejack square in the jaw. Applejack stumbled, releasing Twilight, who promptly ran behind Sunset for color. Applejack chuckled, brushing her chin with a fist before standing back up and eyeing Sunset.
Not a bad punch,
Applejack said. Your man's is still on the weak side, but you're probably still tired.
Which is the same,
because I'm Francis of Daisy in the springtime. She brought up her hands together, popping her knuckles. Spike, get in here! Looks like we gotta teach our friends a little something about being well-behaved captives. Spike hovered through the door, glancing around nervously at the scene before him. He came up behind Applejack, but was looking straight at Sunset. She made a gesture for her eyes, looking to him, then to Applejack, then back to him. Yep, he's a big old dog now, Applejack said, seeing on Sunset's flickering gaze. You wouldn't want to mess with him. Sunset cracked a smile. Neither would you. Applejack's face barely had time to shift to a look of confusion before Spike's claw grabbed her shoulder. She picked up the form, kicking and hissing in reaction to sudden betrayal. Spike then threw her down onto the table, its legs shattering from the impact.
Spike, get her arms!
Sunset shouted as he extended her aura, pressing it down on Applejack's legs while she was still dazed. Spike followed only a moment behind, grabbing Applejack's wrists and pulling the whole weight of his body, keeping her pinned. Sunset tied too. Applejack began to struggle, tugging and pulling to free herself. You no good, dirty backstabbing wondrous fine pieces of shit! Master's too good for you. When he hears about this, Rarity out get to drink you dry, leave your husk hanging in a tree. He was going to make you all vampires to behave, but now you're just food. She bared her fangs and hissed, trying to bring her head close enough to bite Spike. Sunset wavered as she gritted her teeth before looking to Fluttershy. Hurry, before she gets free! Fluttershy nodded, quickly moving into Sunset.
I'm sorry,
She said, quickly moving over and opening her locket device. It started draining Applejack's magic. The process was slow, and every second it took, Sunset feared Rarity or the Master would come to investigate the commotion. Applejack continued to resist, struggle, and curse them at him like a sailor. Still, eventually her magic began to deplete, and her rage cooled. She bared her fangs and hissed at the last moment, but when the last drop of magic left, she passed out just as Rarity had. Sunset released her magic, panting from exertion as she wiped the sweat from her brow. Spike remained cautious, not releasing Applejack from his grip, even as he lay still. Fluttershy closed the locket and held it to her chest. She glanced between Spike, Sunset, and the others.
What do we do now?
Sunset pulled out her phone, pressing a few buttons and then bringing it to her ear. She only had to wait for it to ring once, before the person on the other picked up. Rainbow? Yeah, it's Sunset. We're okay. I know we made you wait. We'll explain everything soon. She pointed to the window while looking at Spike, trying to give him instructions while still talking to Rainbow. We're coming outside. We're going to break a window on the 3rd floor, on the front and outside of the building. Don't come into the gate until you see us come out. We seduced Applejack, and we're bringing her with us. And don't freak out when you see Spike.